Greetings, dear ones. Let's see how our planet formed and how long the formation lasted. Many of you don't even imagine that. Let's get started. As far as is known, Earth is the only inhabited planet in the universe. Although life on Earth has existed for millions of years, let's travel back in time about 5,000 billion years. As we can see, there is nothing yet, but we are at the birthplace of the Earth. We only have the Sun that has just formed, surrounded by protoplanetary dust, and we are advancing a few million years, and we notice how the gravitational force causes the dust to stick to small boulders and at the same time causes collisions between these boulders. This is how larger boulders are formed that end up forming planet. It will take another few million years for the Earth to form. The temperature here exceeds 1,200 degrees Celsius. There is no oxygen. We only have carbon dioxide, nitrogen, sulfur and steam, and the Earth is just a sea of molten lava. We are going forward. Another young planet, named Theia, moves to Earth at a speed of 4 kilometers per second. It is the size of Mars and will collide with Earth. A powerful explosion is created, sending billions of scrap into space that will form a ring around the Earth. The ring of remnants will unite in the next 1,000 years and form the Moon. There were many meteor showers in the first 1,000 billion years after their formation. These cosmic remnants that fell to Earth created the most important event in our history. Inside them there are small drops of water, the most important component for the appearance of life on Earth. The amounts of water present in cosmic debris are very small, but meteor showers last more than 20 million years, creating lakes of water. Due to the Moon gradually moving away from the Earth, the water is constantly moving, the storms stop and the Earth begins to rotate more slowly. We can see that there is not only surface water, but also small islands. This is a molten rock that erupted from the Earth's crust. Over time, it cools and forms volcanic islands that in turn unite to create the first continent. However, the atmosphere is still very toxic and the number of meteorites is doubling and bombarding the Earth. Scientists believe that these meteorites brought to Earth, in addition to water, minerals, proteins and amino acids. From here, life was born near hot springs in the form of single-celled bacteria. If we look at the shallow ocean, we will see something resembling some rock. These are communities of living bacteria that transform sunlight and water into glucose through photosynthesis. In this process, oxygen is released as a byproduct and the oceans and atmosphere are filled with oxygen. They were the ones who created the necessary conditions for life on Earth. The process of forming the planet is really long. The Earth's core is still active and its heat separates the Earth's crust and divides it into huge tectonic plates that move slowly and draw oceans and islands around the world, joining them together. The result is a continent called Rodinia. Due to the extensive geological activity, a huge number of volcanoes have emerged that emit carbon dioxide. Carbon dioxide is mixed with water that turns into acid rain. The rocks absorb it and prevent it from accumulating in the atmosphere and retaining heat. Over time, due to climate change and changes in solar radiation, the Earth began to cool. The surface temperature dropped to -40 degrees Celsius. The ice keeps the oceans at a depth of more than 1 kilometer. This is how one of the longest and coldest eras in Earth's history begins. Snowball Earth. Despite the ice, the planet is hot inside and many volcanoes were still active. Over time, volcanoes began to erupt and carbon dioxide to accumulate in the atmosphere. This kept the sun's heat and melted the glaciers, which in turn released a huge amount of oxygen accumulated in the ice for millions of years. Heat, oxygen and ice become water again, which is ideal for the development of life on Earth. Many living organisms appeared then, all living in the oceans because on land the solar radiation is too strong. This problem is solved in time. Above the Earth, where the sun's rays enter the atmosphere, solar radiation and oxygen combine and create a gas, ozone. The gas surrounds the planet and protects it from deadly radiation. This is how life on land appears. Living organisms protected from radiation are born, and the first plants produce even more oxygen, favoring life on land. A fish known as Tiktaalik can change its head and use its fins to move on land. His descendants will spend less and less time in the water until they move only on land. Over several million years, the ancestors of the dinosaurs Gorgonopside and Scutosaurus appear on land, but their fate and that of 96% of other marine species and 70% of terrestrial vertebrates is inevitable. Approximately 252 million years ago, the Permian-Triassic extinction begins. The most massive extinction of all time. The causes are still unknown, but it is suspected that the eruption of the Siberian Traps volcano that erupted during this period was to blame. The atmosphere is filled with toxins and carbon dioxide and almost completely kills life on Earth. However, this phenomenon gave way to a new species: the dinosaurs. The continents continued to move, the supercontinent Pangaea appears, and in time it gradually disintegrates, taking a shape similar to the current one. The process is slow, and despite the movement of the dinosaur continents, it continues to rule the Earth and nothing could stop it from existing. But in space the story is different. A huge asteroid is heading for Earth, the end of the dinosaurs is approaching. After hitting the ground, it destroyed everything within a radius of thousands of kilometers. Smoke and ash cover the planet for years and cover the sun's rays, which ultimately causes the death and extinction of the dinosaurs. They are replaced by mammals, the atmosphere becoming more and more similar to now. The average temperature is 24 degrees Celsius. The duration of the day is a little less than 24 hours. The collision of the tectonic, Indian and Asian plates creates a huge mountain range known as the Himalayas, and now our planet looks almost as we know it. Only one thing is missing: people. For a human being to appear on Earth, it had to go through another change. Along the east coast of Africa there is a huge crack between the plates that make up the Earth's crust. At its edge the mountains wrinkle more and prevent water from the Indian Ocean from flowing on land, becoming warmer and drier. The tropical forest of Africa turns into a drier savanna, favoring the appearance of Homo erectus, the direct ancestor of modern humans. He was 1.5 meters tall and could walk on 2 legs. His main activity is searching for food. Meanwhile, the climate is gradually changing, sea levels are falling, the Red Sea is narrowing and becoming shallower. This allows a new species to cross the Earth and go in search of a better life: Homo sapiens. Over time they reproduce and spread throughout the world. But as they moved north, a huge wall of ice came south. The world is changing rapidly and becoming much colder. The Earth is entering a new ice age and the blocks of flats continue to move, changing the landscape. Millions of liters of water are trapped in the ice and sea levels are falling. According to scientists, this is the moment when the natural corridor between Siberia and Alaska is formed, the corridor through which man enters a new world. But the ice age cannot last forever. Gradually the ice melts and moves back north. In the places where he left traces, lakes are formed, and this is what our planet looks like today. Everything on Earth is due to a variety of factors: the sky above the head, the life-giving humidity, sunlight, various life forms, and even man. All these are the result of random catastrophes and coincidences. Everything that seemed insignificant at first glance actually shaped our planet. Write us in the comments section if you liked this story, and tell us what curiosities you would like us to address. Don't forget to subscribe, if you haven't already, and share it with your friends to find out about us. All the best. See you in the next episode.